One night, unable to bear the silence any longer, Sarah decided to visit Mr. Johnson's furniture shop. It has been days, but she had not heard anything about Lisa. She needed to know what had happened to Lisa. Sarah sat in the darkness of her room, the envelope of money lying unopened on the bed beside her. She could still hear Lisa's desperate cries echoing in her mind. How could she have done this? Every fiber of her being screamed that she had made a terrible mistake, but it was too late to turn back now. Days turned into nights, and Sarah found herself sinking deeper into hopelessness. The money should have brought relief, but it only brought more pain. She could not eat, nor could she sleep. She felt hollow and haunted by the betrayal she had committed. One night, unable to bear the silence any longer, she decided to visit Mr. Johnson's furniture shop. It has been days, but she hadn't heard anything about Lisa. She needed to know what had happened to Lisa. She needed to find some way to make things right again. When she arrived at Mr. Johnson's furniture shop, he greeted her with a smile. "Sarah, what a surprise! How are you enjoying your newfound wealth?" Sarah's hands trembled as she clenched the envelope. "I need to know what happened to Lisa. Where is she?" Mr. Johnson's smile faded, replaced by a cold, calculating look. "That's none of your concern. You were paid for your services. Now go and enjoy your money." Sarah's heart pounded in her chest. "Please, Mr. Johnson, just tell me she is safe." He laughed, a cruel and hollow sound. "Safe? She is far from safe, my dear. But again, that is not your concern." Sarah's vision blurred with tears. "I can't live with this. I need to make it right." Mr. Johnson's expressions darkened. "You made a choice, Sarah. Live with it." Sarah stumbled out of Mr. Johnson's furniture shop, her mind racing. She could not leave Lisa in danger. She had to find her no matter the cost. She spent the next few days trying to track down any information she could about Mr. Johnson's operations. But it was like trying to grasp at darkness. It was too powerful and too well connected. Just when she was about to give up, she received a message from an unknown number. "If you want to save your friend, meet me at the old warehouse tonight." Sarah's heart ached and raced. It could be a trap, but it was her only lead. She decided to take a risk. As she approached the old warehouse, she saw a figure standing in the shadows. It was a young man, scruffy and nervous. "Are you Sarah?" he asked, his voice trembling. "Yes," Sarah replied. "Who are you?" "My name is Jacques. I used to work for Mr. Johnson, but I could not stand what he was doing. I know where your friend is." Sarah felt a glimmer of hope. "Can you take me to her?" Jacques nodded. "Follow me. But we have to be very careful. If Mr. Johnson finds that, we are both dead." Jacques led Sarah through a maze of dark streets and abandoned buildings until they reached a small run-down house on the outskirts of the town. "She's inside," he whispered. "I'll keep watch. Go quickly." Sarah's heart pounded as she pushed open the door and stepped inside. The room was dark, but she could make out a figure tied to a chair in the corner. "Lisa," she whispered, her voice cracking. The figure stared, and Sarah rushed forward, untying the rope. "Lisa, it's me. I am so sorry. I never should have." Lisa looked up, her eyes filled with a mixture of relief and betrayal. "Sarah, why? Why did you do it?" Sarah's tears flowed freely. "I was desperate. I thought I was saving us, but I was wrong. I came to get you out. Lisa's expression softened slightly. We need to get out of here now. They hurried out of the house and Jacques led them through the darkened streets. Just as they thought they were safe, they heard a roar of an engine. Mr. Johnson's car came to an halt in front of them. Did you think you can run away from me? Mr. Johnson sneered, stepping out of the car. Sarah stepped in front of Lisa, her heart pounding. Let her go, this is between you and me. Mr. Johnson laughed. I'm noble, but it's too late for heroic, Sarah. Just then, Jack appeared behind Mr. Johnson, wedging a piece of metal on his head, and Mr. Johnson was knocked down and unconscious. Run! He shouted, run! They did not need to be told twice. Sarah, Lisa, and Jack ran until their lungs burned and their leg gave out. They collapsed in a park, gasping for breath. Lisa turned to Sarah, tears streaming down her face. I don't know if I can ever forgive you, but thank you for coming back for me. Sarah nodded, her own tears falling. I understand if you can't, but I am so sorry, Lisa. I never should have let it come to this. Jack looked at both of them. You two need to disappear. Mr. Johnson would stop until he finds you. Sarah and Lisa nodded. They knew they had to leave everything behind. As they walked away, Sarah vowed to make things right, no matter what it took. Sarah and Lisa found a temporary refuge in a small hotel on the edge of the town. They needed a place to regroup and plan their next steps. The room was scattered with piled wallpaper and a flickering light, but it felt like a sanctuary after the chaos they had just escaped. Sarah sat at the edge of the bed staring at her hands. Lisa, I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I need to explain why I did what I did. Lisa leaned against the wall, her arms crossed. You betrayed me, Sarah. For money. How could you? Sarah took a deep breath. It started when I lost my job at the factory. They laid off half the staff and I was one of them. I tried to find work, but the economy's being so bad, I could not keep up with the rent, the bills, everything just went out of control. Lisa's emotions softened slightly. Why didn't you tell me? We could have figured something out together. Sarah's heart and eyes was filled with tears. I was ashamed. I did not want you to see me as a failure. Then Mr. Johnson offered me the money. I thought it was the only way to save us. But I did not know what he really wanted with you. Lisa sat down next to Sarah, still processing everything. What did he want with me? Sarah hesitated. I found out through Jacques that Mr. Johnson has been involved in human trafficking. He saw you as an easy target because you are an orphan. He planned to sell you to someone, but I could not let that happen. Lisa breathed hard and breathed in. That's why he was so secretive. He knew I wouldn't go along willingly. Sarah nodded. Jack helped me understand the full scope of Mr. Johnson's business. He's not just a shady businessman. He's dangerous. And his furniture shop is just a camouflage for what he really does. Lisa looked at Sarah, her eyes filled with a mixture of fear and determination. We can't just run away forever. We need to stop him. The next morning, Sarah, Lisa, and Jack sat down to devise a plan. They could not take down Mr. Johnson alone, but they could gather evidence and expose him to the authorities. Jack revealed that he had been collecting information for months, hoping that one day he would bring Mr. Johnson to justice. We need to go to the police, Jack said, spreading out documents and photos on the bed. But we need to be smart about it. Mr. Johnson has connections everywhere. We have to be sure we have enough to get him arrested and convicted. Sarah and Lisa nodded, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. They spent the next few days gathering everything Jack had, organizing it into a comprehensive file. They included details about Mr. Johnson's trafficking operations, financial records, and testimonies from other victims Jack had helped. Once they had everything, they made their way to the local police station. Sarah's heart pounded as they approached the front desk. "We need to speak to someone in charge. It is about Mr. Johnson," she said, her voice steady despite the fear growing inside of her. The officer raised his eyebrows but led them to a small office where Detective Ramirez was waiting. "What do you have for me?" he asked, his tone skeptical. Sarah and Jack laid out the evidence piece by piece, explaining everything. Detective Ramirez listened intently, his expression growing more serious by the minute. "This is enough to launch a full investigation," he finally said. "We all put him under surveillance and gather more evidence. But you three need to be careful. If he suspects anything, he won't hesitate to come after you." Sarah nodded. "We understand." We all lay low. In the weeks that followed, Sarah and Lisa moved to a safe house provided by the police. They stayed in close contact with Detective Ramirez, who kept them updated on the investigation. It was a tense and nerve-wracking time, but they found solace in each other's company. One evening, as they sat together, Lisa began a conversation. "You know, despite everything, Sarah, I know you are not a bad person, but please, I would like us to go our separate ways when this is all over." Sarah smiled with guilt and tears in her eyes. "I am so sorry, Lisa. I never wanted to hurt you." Lisa squeezed her hand. "I know you never wanted to hurt me, but you already did. And although I have forgiven you, I need a space to forget about all these bad memories." Months later, they received the news they had been waiting for. Mr. Johnson had been arrested, and his trafficking of young helpless girls was revealed all over Nigeria, and this was what led to his downfall. It was a moment of triumph for Sarah and also Lisa, but Lisa's heart was already made up. She will not continue to be friends with Sarah. And so, they both went back to their small apartment with heavy hearts. Lisa packed her belongings and relocated to another state, while Sarah, having learned a great lesson, packed her belongings and went back to Lagos to be with her family. Moral lesson. The moral lesson of this story is from a popular adage that says, "You cannot eat your cake and have it." Sarah wanted to be financially independent. She wanted to have her own money despite coming from a rich background. And I get it. A lot of young people, myself included, want this too regardless of our background. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with having your own money and being independent as a young person. But please, don't make decisions that will risk your life, the life of your friends, or even the life of your loved ones in general. Because not all decisions can be reversed. And Sarah had to live the rest of her life in regret of her decision. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. If you would love to watch other African stories like this, then subscribe to this channel by hitting the subscribe button below. And I would also love to know, did you enjoy this story? If yes, type yes in the comment section. And if no, let me also know in the comment section by typing no. And please, guys, share this story with your loved ones. Till next time, bye.